Hello and welcome to Company Culture with Yvette C. Owens, where we explore the behaviors that are present in an organization, whether it be a corporate, company, church, school, education, wherever. Every organization has a culture. The question is, are you aware of your culture? Today, I want to talk about the power of your presence. I reflect back on a time when I was working with a team and we had a powerful morning of activity, lots of thoughts flowing, really, really good time of sharing and building and creating and innovating. And then we took a break. We took a break, and when taking that break, during that break, I got some news that was not really favorable. Good morning to you who are joining me. So glad you're joining me. Please share this. I'm happy that you're here. We're talking about the power of your presence. And what are you releasing? Are you aware of the energy that you're releasing? So again, I'm recounting this time when I was working with a team. We had a lot of energy, powerful energy, impactful morning, a lot of collaboration, innovation. Momentum in the project was really uplifting and powerful. Then we took a break. During this break, I received some information that wasn't really positive, that really shifted my atmosphere. It changed it changed my attitude, if you will. And we came back from the break, and without saying anything, I stepped into the room, and two of the team members were already back. And then one stepped into the room and said, "What just happened?" None of us were saying anything. I was still trying to compose myself because I now have to lead this group through an afternoon session. And we, had all this powerful morning session, but something happened that changed my energy during the lunch break, during the break. And it was evident without me saying a word. And someone who followed me into the room, and we had sat in there for a minute. So the people who were in the room didn't say anything. They might have felt it, but they didn't acknowledge it nor said anything. But this person came in and said, "What just happened? What's going on?" And so I say this and I share this because we don't understand, and we are sometimes unaware of the energy that we carry in our presence. Everyone, every one of us. It's not just about title, it's not about rank and serial number. It is about each one of us steps into a space. When we talk about change, change is constant, and you have to be aware of the fact that every time you have a new element being inserted into a new space, it's going to impact that space. And you need to give people time to be able to adjust to what just happened. But when you are not when you, one, try to ignore it and say it's going to go away, or two, you know it's there and you try to just berate it or try to talk over it, it does not help. So here's what I would suggest that you do. One, be aware of your energy, be aware of what you're bringing into the space. One, if you are a person of position and title, your position alone carries a presence. And there's times when that's important, and there's a lot of times when it's not. And I think too often, my opinion, and based on my observations, too often we carry our position and our titles into spaces where we really want people to collaborate, where we really want people to share and be innovative and creative, and they cannot release themselves to do that because they're intimidated by the energy and the power that you're exuding because of your title. If you are a person with a title and a position and a higher position, I submit to you that you must intentionally help people to be comfortable around you so that you can get what you're really trying to get from them and for your organization or for yourself. Because you may be looking to grow yourself. And if you're looking for some honest feedback, are people going to really believe that they're not going to be beat up if you're going to give that honest feedback? That you're not going to, there's not going to be negative repercussions if you hear something that you weren't ready to hear? So there's a power in our presence. So here's what we have to do. One, acknowledge the fact that where am I right now? Am I centered? Am I ready to really engage? What do I want out of this time, this space, this moment that I'm stepping into with other people? How do I want them to interact with me in that space? And that's how I need to come in into that, into their presence with that type of energy. And it is a conscious thing. You can't think that it's just going to be automatic. You must be conscious of it. There are times, like the moment that I recounted, where something happened. I needed time, probably more time than that break took. So I was carrying that energy into that space. So at those times when you don't have time really to adjust and to get yourself together, or as my mom would say, fix your face or check your attitude, some of you may have heard your parents say that, get it together, right? And you're trying to get it and you're having to get it together in the moment, then acknowledge it because everyone else around you can feel it. And that doesn't mean you have to be so transparent that you share absolutely everything about it, but it does mean that, hey, something's just happened. I'm working through it, but let's go on and let's deal it. It helps you and it helps the room because just as that young lady came into the room after I was there for a few minutes and no one said anything because we just didn't, but she came in and she could feel the heaviness that I brought into that room that was very different contrast to what was there in the morning before the break. So acknowledge it. Two, address it. Yes, something has changed. Here's what has changed, and here's how we're working through it. Or here's how what has changed, and I just need a moment, but we can continue where we were. Or yes, this new person is coming into our space. Let's welcome them. Or here's how they're going to contribute to our team. All of those things need to be acknowledged and addressed. Give people time to adjust to the change. So whether it's you stepping in with this persona, all of a sudden this attitude change, give people a moment to react to it. Because just like you're going through and you're adjusting, they need to adjust. Our presence has power. And want to make sure you understand that it's just not the leader. It's any member on our team. So if you are the leader or you're facilitating this space, if you're leading this conversation and someone comes into the table with just all this negative energy, you can call and focus the group back to where they were before that individual came back. So again, don't ignore it as if it's not happening. Make mental note that something just shifted here. What just happened? What just happened? And when you acknowledge that, even if you don't verbalize that, but now let your comments, your conversation around where you were before that person joined the meeting, before that person sat down at the table with all of this stuff, bring everybody back to where you were And you could say, okay, let's get back to where we are. This is where we, and remind people of the energy that was in that space before this individual entered the room. Because people sometimes they forget, they get distracted and they're off to something else. So remind people, hey, we were making really good progress. I love what you said, Shamika. I love what you said, James, about this. And we were that. Let's follow up on what Robert's thought was. Bring them back. Bring them back, because then that does no longer allows that person or their energy to take over. So you've acknowledged it, you're addressing it, but you're addressing it in a very diplomatic way. You don't have to call people out when you're addressing it, but you want to remember my objective for being in this space with this group of people at this very time is to achieve X. And that's exactly what I'm going to come out with. And I'm not going to let anybody disrupt that. I'm going to come out with the results that I expect. Now, that doesn't mean that I expect that I'm going to get ABC and I'm going to get ABC. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're going into a space and you're saying, I need collaboration. I need to network with these folks. I need their thoughts towards what we're doing. And I'm not going to let anyone or anything disturb the flow of those thoughts. That's what I'm saying. So again, um, share this because I know that there's so many people who need to understand that they must be energy conscious whenever they are engaging with other people. You must be energy conscious in what you're bringing. And that means, like my mama said, sometimes before you go in there, you got to fix your face. You got to check your attitude, because wherever it is, it's going to show and it's going to impact what you're trying to do. And you may not come away with what you wanted or needed, all because you didn't fix your face or you didn't check your attitude. So let's make sure you have to acknowledge one, something's happened, whether it's inside of you or someone else in that space, and two, address it. Sometimes you have to address it face on, head on, because it's so overpowering. But other times, as a facilitator in that space, you can address it by saying, okay, something just happened here, but let me get people back on to where we were before that change happened so that we can continue. And if whatever just stepped into the room is relevant to what just happened, it'll come up because that person will bring it up who brought it in. And then you can address it and deal with it in a healthier way, as opposed to everybody just being totally sidetracked and distracted over there, forgetting what the objective of the time together is. So let me show you, let me talk through you how that plays out. We're in a conversation, we're all engaged, everybody's sharing thoughts, and we're like building upon idea, and there's a lot of collaboration and positive energy. And then Mary steps in, or Bob steps in, and they have all this attitude. They're downsayers. It's like, well, that's not going to work because we tried that in 1957, or that's not going to work because da 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 da. And so now you're like, okay, let's remember that this is where we want to go. And yes, we might have some past experiences that weren't favorable, but let's balance that with where we're trying to go. And we had some ideas of how this could be possible. Now, Mary, share with us what exactly went wrong and what do you think contributed to those things? How can we improve upon what happened there? Jim, that might be a good point. And was it really about the people, how they approached it, or can you tell us how could things have been approached or and done differently? Don't let people just come and sit on your idea or sit on the progress you're making with an organization and totally destroy your momentum. Never let that happen. And even if what they bring forth are valid things to consider, you make aware, make note of it with the group. Hey, that's a good point. Here's the things that we know we really want to do, and we really think we can do these successfully. But now, Mary, Jim, or Bob, or all three have made sure we are not going to make the same mistakes that were made before. So let's consider these things, and we'll take that as takeaways. Let's think about how we can make sure we overcome those things next as we move forward. Hopefully, that shows you how you can play that out without letting someone come and sit a bunch of negatives and a boulder on top of everything and put a roadblock. And now you guys are going off the cliff, right? So, this is Yvette C. Owens of Company Culture. This is what I wanted to share with you, that there is power in your presence, and there's power in the presence of everyone around you. Be very energy conscious. What are you releasing? What are you releasing? Because those who are really committed to making cultures, their environments, their workplaces, their faith-based organizations, their community organizations powerful, are conscious of the environment in which they're creating for people to evolve in. And so presence, the power of our presence, has a great deal to do with that. It does. It really does. And you are in full control of helping that, whether you're the facilitator or not. Even if you're not the facilitator, but you recognize, wait a minute, something just shifted, something just changed, something's going on. You can also say, hey, guys, we were doing really good. Let's listen to the leader. Let's, let's come back to where we were. Let's jointly create cultures and environments where we can all thrive and be very conscious of our presence. Address the fact that something has changed, acknowledge it, address it, and then take it to back where you need to take it, or run with it if it's something positive, because some new energy could step in your space that you guys didn't think of. And sometimes that when a new positive energy and a lot of thought comes forth, then we're like, well, wait a minute. You start to feel like, oh, they're trying to take over. No, roll with it, go with it, because now there's extra energy in that space. There's more ideas, there's more innovation, there's more creativity that can take the group's ideas from here to there. So don't push back on those ideas that when there's positive energy coming in. And even if you know that you have to say, okay, we can't do everything all at once, because you can't boil the ocean, or that the group that you're working with, or the organization that you're in, or the fact that you have an objective that you have to reach has to be reached within a certain time frame. But these are really good ideas. Acknowledge that they're good ideas. Acknowledge that they're coming forth, and that's positive energy that's been inserted into your team. And that let's put these down so that when we accomplish this segment of the effort, or the project, or the program, then we can now add on these new elements that are being introduced. Power in your presence. There is an energy that each one of us release. Are they glad to see ya come, or are they glad to see ya go? That's the question. That's the question. And when you come, and when they come, are you able to check your attitude, fix your face, as my mom would say, and help the group to continue to move and regain the momentum? This is Yvette C. Owens, from Company Culture. I am happy to share more with you. If you want to do more work with me, you can engage with me. You can reach me. Let me share my contact information here. At vision to reality at destinyspeak.com. I'm also on Facebook at Destiny Speak V2R or Destiny Speak. Um, I speak. I'm a speaker, and I do have openings for speaking engagements. So I'm happy to come and speak to your organization. Just bring some of that energy, help people be aware of what's happening in that space. Oftentimes, we are just so heads down in what we're doing that we totally forget about the overarching climate that we're setting or being allowed to set in our organization. And that's important. If you want people to really be their very best, it has to be an environment that nurtures that. That's why I'm so committed to helping leaders create cultures where everyone thrives. And I mean, absolutely everyone. It doesn't mean that everybody's trying to get to the top or take your position, but everyone has something to contribute. And they need to be in an environment where they feel free and they know that they're appreciated and they belong and that what they're bringing to the organization is worthwhile, because it takes energy to get up in the morning and to go in. It takes energy to contribute. Can I tell you, for the most people, and if you're a speaker like myself and you're used to facilitating and being in front of groups, we sometimes forget that for the majority of the population, for people to even share their ideas in a meeting or in a room in front of more than one or two people takes a lot of energy and courage. If you're just a natural talker and you're, an extrovert and you just wherever you go, you're just going to engage with everybody, that might seem strange to you. But there's a lot of people that have great ideas, a lot to offer, but it just takes them so much to be able to share them because that's just not in their nature. We need to help create cultures where they all feel I can be heard and I can be received for what I'm offering. That's my passion and my purpose. So, again, I have openings to come and speak to your organization. I coach one on one, and I'm happy to say that I just launched the CCE League for those of us who have been in the workplace and been traumatized or experienced some negative space and are ready to interject that positive energy and be able to move forward and come up with ways to help you move forward, as well as for you to be able to go back to certain places or go on to your next place really empowered. And it's also a group for leaders who want to be able to know how to
Mhm.
raise and lift up those who may have been damaged in the workplace. Because we will run into those people. Well, what do I do with them? You don't want to leave people where you found them if they're in a bad place. So the CCE League is coming together to support leaders, to support individuals, so that we regain momentum. You regain your momentum, you regain your energy in a really safe environment, and you can go back into those spaces really in a much better place than where they left you. That's the reality. Pick up my book, Conquering Corporate Enemies, Mind, Personalities, and Situations, and the workbook. They're available on Amazon, or you can get them at my website at destinyspeak.com. And when you go into my website, there is a tab called the Diplomat Chronicles. And in there, you will find a lot of my products. There's my books, my attire. There's also additional workshops that you can and courses that you can purchase, all available and made for you to empower you in the workspace, in your organization, even if it's a faith-based organization, because leadership is leadership. I get that question often. What industry are you focusing on? What type of organizations? Leadership is leadership, and it crosses all industries, all types of organizations. And when it's done well, organizations flourish. When it's not done well, organizations and the individuals inside them, they are in trouble. And we don't want that. We want you to have far more strength and more momentum in your organization. So that's where you want to engage me. I can coach you as a leader one on one. I coach teams and helping them to become unified, recognizing each other's strengths, becoming more emotionally intelligent, the needs of your organ, even understanding where everybody's strengths and behaviors bring and contribute. And that's my natural behaviors, how that can contribute to the team and the organization's visions. I can help you understand that, better understand your team and the people on your team so that you get the results that you want. Have an amazing day. This is Yvette C. Owens. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And what is that story, Yvette? That it takes each one of us to create a culture where everyone can thrive. Have an amazing day and an awesome weekend. Bye bye.